Hey everyone, I'm Dylan, and today I'm going to be talking about the UC PIQs. So I was admitted into UCLA and UC San Diego, although I'm going to Stanford this fall, but I'm going to give you some advice on how to write the UC PIQs, and I will also read you my own essays today. So if you don't know what I mean when I say UC PIQs, I mean the University of California Personal Insight Questions. These are the questions that they ask you on your application, and they are basically essays. It's important to know that the UC PIQs are very different from the Common App essays and essays that you'll submit for private universities. Just the way that they like them to be written is different, and I'm going to explain that right now. So the PIQs are more of a glorified resume, I guess you could say, where you pick something in your application or maybe something you didn't mention and you talk about it a lot more in depth. They like you to have a variety of different topics that you're talking about, not just all about one specific field. The UC PIQs don't want you to be as creative, I'd say, in your writing. They just kind of want you to be straight to the point, so you don't need to worry about fancy words and fluff and all that stuff. The PIQs want to know what you have done that sets you apart, and it should showcase your different values. Throughout your essays, you should be answering the question, so what? Like, why are you doing these things? What does this show about you? What can the university learn about you and your values from this experience that you're writing about? It's also good to structure your PIQs into what I did, problems I solved, lessons I learned and skills I gained, the impact I had, and how I applied what I learned. This structure was given by College Essay Guy's crash course. It was a webinar that I happened to stumble upon that is actually included in the link in the description. I have a whole College App Resources Google Drive folder for you guys. Check that out. Alright, so now I'm going to read you some of my essays. They give you 8 different prompts and you are asked to choose 4 of them. Here is my first one. Think about an academic subject that inspires you. Describe how you have furthered this interest inside and or outside the classroom. I used to believe the common consensus of my classmates. Math education beyond elementary level had few applications in real life. However, my perception of math has since changed. It's not about what you learn, it's the way math makes you think. Math is a tool I use to navigate the world around me. In 3rd grade, I learned to think quickly by rehearsing my multiplication tables. In middle school, I explored my creativity by solving math riddles unconventionally. Now in AP Statistics, I sharpen my analytical skill and logical reasoning when designing population studies. Acquiring these skills has its challenges, but I've learned to overcome them by developing the right mentality. Part of the requirement for enrolling in my AP Calculus class involved taking a Stanford online course called How to Learn Math. Though it did not teach calculus concepts, the course focused on something of much greater value, maintaining a growth mindset. If one believes they have the capability to improve, then they can, because intelligence is not fixed. With grit and persistence, anyone can achieve the highest levels of math. I was inspired and wanted to share my knowledge with other students in need of support. I established Successful Solutions, a tutoring club at my high school for students in all levels of math. Along with the tutors I recruited, I work one-on-one with students, making sure they fully understand each step to solving a problem before moving on to the next. By drawing visual aids on the whiteboard, such as graphs and number lines, I help students to better comprehend the material. Several students who attend my club meetings are deaf and hard of hearing. The process of communicating with them through sign language interpreters allow me to develop greater compassion and patience in my teaching. I watch students gain confidence as they overcome challenges, find solutions, and acquire skill sets. The rewarding feeling after each meeting fills my heart with satisfaction and shows me how empowering math can be. So obviously this PIQ is about math, and it was pretty straightforward, like I said. Now I'm going to move on to the next one, and it is a shortened version of my Common App essay that I did read to you all in my Stanford Essays video, but this is just the shortened version of it since the UCs only accept a word limit of 350 words. The prompt. Describe the most significant challenge you have faced and the steps you have taken to overcome this challenge. How has this challenge affected your academic achievement? The rattle of a doorknob pierced the night. It was my grandfather, Yeye. As usual, he was disoriented, thought it was time to eat, and being hard of hearing, required loud convincing by my mom to return to bed. Plaque and tangles had accumulated in my grandfather's brain, and now they spread into our everyday lives. With my step-grandmother suddenly moving back to Taiwan, my family was completely unprepared to care for a 90-year-old disabled man. There were no funds for professional elder care, so my mom, dad, and I had to quickly adapt to accommodate his needs. After a number of falls, we installed safety equipment into the bathroom, which he shared with me. My grandfather's Alzheimer's disease erased the connection that he and I once shared. When I was younger, Yaya and I used to solve math puzzles together, but now we couldn't even hold a conversation. As I looked back, I realized he had lived a sedentary senior life. Would a more active lifestyle have led to a different outcome? I've noticed that our American culture glorifies youth but nearly ignores what it means to grow old. So I am developing a mobile app to prepare families for elder care. It will enable users to compare both in-home and outside elder care facilities, provide caretaker support, and promote cognitive health. Brain games will be personalized to exercise memory, like matching the names of family members with their appropriate pictures. I'm currently designing a prototype for my app, and I plan to continue building it in college. Yaya can no longer walk. While the challenges have increased, I have learned to appreciate the different stages of life and return the love and care that my grandfather once gave me. With this in practice, Yaya's disposition improved, and he accepted our home as his. I am determined to soar through the tangles of life. So when I hear the doorknob rattle at night, I know it's just a reminder for us all to make healthier choices today for a better tomorrow. My next PIQ was also mentioned in my Stanford Essays video, but this is the lengthier version of it. The prompt is, describe how you have taken advantage of a significant educational opportunity or worked to overcome an educational barrier you have faced. The Girls Who Code Summer Immersion Program was a pivotal experience in my education. At no cost, I was selected to study computer science for 7 weeks amongst highly motivated females like myself. Each day, I was grouped with new girls to collaborate on projects and form new friendships. We explored the coding languages of HTML, CSS, Arduino C, and Python, my favorite. I learned to code my own website, program robots to sing the latest pop songs, and create games that my peers could interact with. My curiosity drove me to ask many questions as I was eager to perfect my code. In the last 2 weeks of the program, my team of 3 girls developed the most difficult project of the class. We built a mobile app with a tracking device to identify the location of one's valuables. A Scrum board was used to prioritize and assign specific tasks to each person. I was in charge of designing the app's interface, embedding Google Maps, and encoding the tracker's GPS and Bluetooth data into the app. At times, these tasks felt nearly impossible with continuous errors in my code. However, after doing immense online research and testing several different approaches, I was able to create the functioning features within our app. On graduation day, my team stood on a USC stage and pitched our project to an audience of peers and professionals. Our efforts spent coding in 2 different languages and long nights overcoming technical hurdles had culminated in this one moment of pride. The process of developing our tracking app taught me to take risks. I learned to accept that sometimes the best option is just to scrap my work and begin anew. I've become more patient and persistent in my coding projects, academics, and art practice because of this experience. Girls Who Code strengthened my ability to transform ideas into reality and inspired my future career path. So as you can tell in this essay, it's very straightforward and straight to the point, like this is what I did. And my other essays in the Common App are not like that. They're a little bit more storytelling. So now this is the last PIQ that I did, and here's the prompt. Every person has a creative side, and it can be expressed in many ways: problem solving, original and innovative thinking, and artistically, to name a few. Describe how you express your creative side. And this is my essay. Ding! I had just received an email from my school's yearbook committee in response to the first draft of my 2018 cover design. We like the background, but the Illustrated Academy symbols are lacking originality. I stared at my design in Photoshop and fidgeted with my stylus pen, without a solution. How could I create a clever, retro-themed cover that integrated the visual, theater, music, and dance academies of my school? I left my computer and went for a walk. Standing beneath my neighbor's expansive tree, it became obvious that I needed to branch out and find inspiration from artists from the past. After looking at countless works, I discovered that styles from the 1900s to 1920s resonated the strongest for this project. Finally, I was ready to transcend my own limitations. Referencing the simple color schemes from the artistic movement of Distill, I restricted my palette to shades of red, teal, and primrose yellow. I incorporated contemporary trends and Russian constructivism to transform the numbers 2018 into bold geometric shapes. These were then layered and intermixed with figures, instruments, and artistic tools, all influenced by the jazz art of the Harlem Renaissance. What was a 0 had become the lens of a camera, and what was an 8 had become a cello being strummed. In many ways, I saw my artwork as a geometry puzzle. Each shape was created in Photoshop with Bezier curves, whose control points I manipulated to stretch along tangential lines. In the background, I created movement with sharp cubistic angles and converging colors that wrapped around the cover. After numerous revisions of many symbols and shapes, both sides of my artistic equation eventually found balance. Through research and experimentation, I was able to discover unique ways to combine design concepts, math principles, and my school culture. My efforts were rewarded by winning first place for the Friesen's North American Yearbook Cover Contest. Though the honor was humbling, the true prize was in the process. Okay, that essay was also a lengthened version of the one I put in my Stanford application, but in this one I did include that I won a contest from my design. I didn't include that in my Stanford application because I didn't want to seem like I was showing off like, oh, by the way, I won this award because, it's already listed on my application. But for the UC PIQs, it's a little different. Like I said, it is a glorified resume, so you do want to show off your stuff in these type of essays. Alright, so I hope that helped. If you have any questions, let me know. Make sure to like and subscribe, all that stuff, and I'll see you later.